All right, so we have a quorum here, so let's begin this meeting. It's Tuesday, December 20th, meeting of the Cohasset School Facilities Committee. We'll start by a roll call. Kathleen Burns,
Present.
Paul Kearney,
Present.
Jennifer Lesky,
Present.
Greg McClellan, Martin Nee, Nan Roth,
Here.
Paul Schubert, and Douglas Schultz.
Here.
All right, well, thank you for joining. Only one real agenda item. I don't know if I labeled it correctly, Paul, from our discussion, but I just said it's facilities discussion in regards to Osgood and Deer Hill, because I feel like a lot of the focus has just been on the the middle high school, but we also can't lose track of those two schools, because we sure as heck don't want those to end up like the middle high school. So Paul, let me turn it over to you if you want to just give a rundown of kind of what you were thinking. You're on mute, Paul.
Yeah, I just wanted to bring up to your point that there's definitely some necessary improvements that we need in those two schools. So I don't know if you can share, Jason, with the group of what the outcome of the study was, exactly what was needed in those two schools. I don't know if we can bring them up, but maybe we can table it and maybe bring it to another agenda item to use it for the next time, I guess, to talk about. I know they were looking for roofs, and there's a few things and priorities that are there.
I have it pulled up if you want me to
Yeah, you should be able to share your screen.
tick through. So, share my screen. Yikes. Okay, I'll try.
Why
Hold
don't
on.
we identify some things and put them on the warrant for the spring? Town
Yeah,
meeting.
I think that sounds great.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
We should, identify them to the school committee, and then they should be runs to do that. But if we can be
Yeah.
specific, I'm sure it will help.
Okay. I'll see if I can share this. Hold on. So I think, do I need to be a presenter to share my screen? I am a panelist. Hold on.
Yeah, you should have it on the bottom.
So I don't have, oh, share screen. Got it. Okay, hold on.
Which school is this? Like Deer Hill. Okay.
Isn't there a way that some of them are prioritized?
Yeah, basically the ones and twos would be the top priority, which both look like building systems mechanical and
Yeah.
building systems electrical. And what that exactly entails, we'd have to dig into this. There's also a I don't know if it's an Excel spreadsheet, Paul, or if it was a PDF that AI3 actually broke down each school and put like a dollar amount to everything. So that would probably help as well, because they listed those as a breakdown of high priority, how much things would cost. Obviously, that was the beginning of the year, I believe, or the middle of the year. So I'm sure the prices have everything else gone up.
So Osgood needs windows.
Yep.
And HVAC, everything needs HVAC.
Yeah. Kind of at their end of their lifespan, because some of them are existing from when they was first built.
I haven't seen this, but I've also heard that there are leaks in the Deer Hill School where
Oh, yeah, there's,
in the
was there
cafeteria, in
for-
the doorway to the auditorium area, that there's some sort of major water coming into the building.
yes, it was actually happening over the weekend. The buckets were there when we were there for basketball.
Mhm.
All right.
I didn't see roofing on the Deer Hill as a major issue, but then we also had that storm a couple of years ago where the generators at Osgood and Deer Hill were not functioning. I don't know if that's been resolved completely yet.
We'll see what happens to the roof on this storm that's coming on Friday.
Right.
So just sort of a generic upgrade, the HVAC needs to be much more specific.
That's why I'm trying to,
And it's really to refer to the capital budget people too.
yeah, we're in a tricky position because we're kind of a wing of the school committee and we're kind of a wing of the select board, but I think this needs to really run through the schools since it's, their buildings. So I think I need to get in touch with Mr. Dial, who's the chair now, and ask him if anything has moved forward, because I sent them all the pricing when we got them when it was given to us by AI3. I just can't find where I put it on my. Oh, is it?
But we should let them know at least that we're very concerned about Deer Hill and Osgood keeping up their.
Yeah.
And that we think these items need to be addressed in spring. Mhm.
Yeah,
Should
and
we?
Everyone see this?
Yes.
Okay, so this is what I received a while back, and I sent it to our facilities team, and I sent it to the school committee. And I need to follow up because it doesn't sound like anything's been done.
This part
This
is.
one was the middle high school. This had all the schools, so we'll just go down to, here's Deer Hill. Now, they broke it down by interior, exterior. You can see priority high, medium, low, and the time frame in which they think things need to be repaired. And then they kind of give you the cost range.
Mhm.
So I'm hoping that either facilities or the school committee has looked at this and is planning things. So I guess we kind of need to check in on that, I guess.
yeah, and I can only, the only thing I can share there as far as the capital requests have been out, but none of it, there's not one really request for any of these items coming up soon. So that was my concern because I sit on the finance
Yeah.
committee, and I was just like, we're asking for things that are pretty much on a spreadsheet that are like not even relevant to what we need. Like, this is what we need for the school. And I just feel like this is what people should see. And these just should be the requests. The request that we're asking for is like 10% of what we need.
Mhm. Well, you as a member of the advisory committee can tell them that you want to hear from them on these issues. The advisory committee I was on it for 13 years. You can be more aggressive and demand that they come to you with a response to this. You don't have to passively sit back and wait for them to do it.
Well, thank you, first of all, for 13 years of your service. I appreciate that. We appreciate that. But I would say this, though. I'm on the school committee, not the advisory committee. And the thing is, these things are not being brought up even in our committee. So I don't know if it's our committee that should come out and say, these are the things that we need, or should it come from this committee? I'm kind of like stuck here in a way. That's
Well,
why
I got no problem tossing the grenade here. I mean, I have no problem sending this off and highlighting all these high priorities and asking if these things are in the budget somewhere. Is somebody looking at this? And I'll CC everybody under the sun. I got no problems doing that if that's what, you think will get this ball rolling. I mean, it needs.
I think you need to send it to everybody. Start with Chris Senior, and then the school committee, and then the capital budget committee, and then the advisory committee, and make sure they all get it.
Yeah.
And then it's in their court.
Should we make it a formal item on the next school committee meeting that we want to talk about this?
I think that's a great idea because they already have the copy of this, and we had brought it up before in school committee. However, I don't think that anything has been addressed on how we going to get there, right? It just seems like there's no like direct, this is what we need. And it should be up to, the town and the taxpayers to figure out, if, like you said, let it put it on the warrant, see if it works. People are going to either vote for it or vote against it. But I don't know whose job it is to like at least present what the schools need, because this time around, they're not going to have anything on any of these things. And maybe I can share with the group, Jason, I can send it to you and you can share it about what we're asking right now. And that'll be in tomorrow's school committee. So I invite anybody, if they want to zoom in, they can see exactly kind of the chicken scratch that we're asking for,
Yeah.
Well, this is capital budget. This is not your.
Yeah, no, right,
budget.
right.
So,
Right. Yeah, we're going to talk about capital though. The capital, I think we already even sent it over, and there really wasn't, like I said, I'll share it with everybody, but it's not exactly what we need. It doesn't even talk about what's necessary at Osgood.
Yeah, and I know some of these were taken care of, like the sprinkler heads were done. Because I remember talking with somebody from facilities.
Yeah, and there's a lot of security items that need to be addressed that only certain of us are privy to that information. And I talked to Lance about maybe we need to go to an executive session and try to figure that out. But those are necessary items there that I'm just afraid they're not going to be addressed.
Yeah, let's
And
see.
on all of these, the main one I keep saying, which is the biggest dollars, is both of them need their roofs replaced.
Right, but that should be like a no-brainer, right? I mean, if your elementary school needs, roof repairs, it shouldn't be, you wouldn't think, too controversial. It should be just a matter of what are the mechanical steps that we need to get that approved, right? What if we, before the next meeting, what if we break up and like Nan and Jason and Paul, maybe we can take this or leave this, sort of look into the process for what channels we should go through to make sure that everyone's aware of it. And maybe the rest of us break up and just take a little deeper dive into half of us into Osgood, half of us into Deer Hill, and just, really dig into the reports on both of those so that we can talk about it more in more detail at the next meeting. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Yeah. I think it makes total sense.
Is there
I feel
someone
like Nan, Paul, and Jason, you have you seem like a good team. If I could suggest to, do that part of it. Sorry, Jen, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I'm wondering if it would be helpful too, at some point along the line, to figure out, or who can advise us, and maybe it's AI3, on completing this maintenance now, that sort of the long-term money that it will save, because it seems like deferring the maintenance, it has been actually ending up costing the district and the town more money. And then if we take care of these, some things are replacing, but where we can fix, that we fix, so that we don't leave leaky windows here, because then it's going to damage, the wall structure, et cetera, et cetera. Because I think sometimes just looking at that, well, why do we need new windows or whatever it might be, but to really say like, this is actually spending now to save later.
Absolutely.
And I'm not sure who's really qualified to, I'm not qualified to make those kind of assessments, but we can certainly, I think someone would be.
Well, and right, and maybe some of it rolls into a broader discussion. I think the report says that Deer Hill is going to need to be replaced in 10 years. I mean, considering the speed at which these things move, I mean, that's a conversation that we should, start having soon and say, here, if the timeline or the lifespan of this building is 10 more years, here's what we need to do now, for safety, health, basic reasons. And here's what we should, start thinking about for that. But I mean, I know that we don't want to start that whole conversation because we already have the high school conversation going, but if that's the case, I think if that's the reality, we should make that part of the discussion.
Well,
Like you can't put off the roof, but maybe we could put off whatever,
Yeah, it's probably a wise idea if we're talking about trying to replace this building in 10 years, maybe the answer is not necessarily replacement of the roof, but repairs to the roof.
Well, we're not going to do two schools at the same time. So
right.
the idea that we're going to do it in 10 years is not really realistic because it's going to take 7 years to do the high school per se. So and add in another 7 or 8 for Deer Hill on top of that, we're really looking at more like 15 years.
Right. But I think either way, I think we still, so that we're not in a situation where the high school set the table to say, we've got to, if we can do this maintenance, we can make it 15 years or 20 years, but if we don't do this maintenance, it's gonna be a problem. But this is, I mean, I'm new to all of this, but this seems to me like it should be like if the elementary school needs a new roof because it leaks, I feel like that should be kind of a slam dunk.
Yeah, one would think.
I would hope.
The other
So-
thing is, the good news is too, is that the building authority offers renovation too for those roofs, as long as they are over 25 years old. And I think we're like at 22 years at some of those. I don't know if that's the middle high school or not, but I know that there's talk about like there's 2 different ways that you can go to the authority and ask them for funds, and one is
Right.
New school, and one is renovations. So
Right.
Yeah, the accelerated repair
maybe
option would probably be the way to go.
yeah, and the other thing is too is maybe we can, I love the word timetable, maybe we could just plug in like, we can't even assume that we're even ever going to get a middle high school, right? I mean, it's like, yeah, we'd like to talk about it when we need it, and if it's 7 years away, what's the timetable for that? And if we maybe even did a 10-year timetable, and then we can plug in, if we get the new schools, that we should do this. But it just seems like we're all waiting around for a new school that we don't even know if the taxpayers would vote for a $150, $200 million high school. But the longer we wait for any of these projects, the longer the prices go up, right?
Right. And I think,
So
Paul,
it's
to your
like-
point too, maybe
I
we
guess
should
that's-
raise some of the high school repair issues at this upcoming school committee meeting and say, and by the way, the high school also needs $5 million in repairs. And, these can be put off for 2 or 3 years if we are actually going to approve the funding. But otherwise, it looks like we're going to be looking at 5 million over the next 5 years, whatever the numbers are. I mean, I think it makes sense to have
Right.
that discussion at this year's meeting because
Right.
so that it doesn't
Right.
come as such a
Yeah.
shock next year when people say,
Right.
well, why couldn't we just
Right.
spend, $5 million to $10 million instead of the other? So maybe we make 3 subcommittees. Should I make a motion for that? We do 3 subcommittees do we need to officially do that to look into this before the next meeting so that we can figure out what we need to tee up for this spring's town meeting?
Yeah, I think we could do that.
I mean, I'll second that.
All right, so we need one team to look at Osgood. One for Deer Hill,
Yeah.
and we also need one for any.
Process and then high school.
Yep.
I mean, high school, middle school, we all know I think we're well aware of the issues, but maybe it's, talking to AI3 or somebody at the town or whomever it is to figure out that the timeframe issues that Paul and Jen were just talking about.
Yeah, I'll take on the process, because
Okay,
I have I need to talk with Chris Senior anyway.
okay.
A couple other items. So I can definitely see what the process is for us submitting it to the school or warrant
Right.
ourselves and having the school and everyone vote.
And I feel like, Nan, you have so much experience with that. Would you do that? Would you do that one too?
Well, I can work on the process too with you, Jason. if you want.
Perfect.
You have that advisory committee point of view and all the town government experience. I can do whatever. I'm happy to take on Osgood or Deer Hill. I'm in both of those schools all the time.
And I'm in Deer Hill and middle high school all the time, so I can do either.
Yeah, and you know what worries me too is the fact that the middle high school, like, I don't think we can stop what that school needs, right? I mean, it's I don't know the fact that we were supposed to do a walkthrough every year, that we walk through the high schools with the town officials, and they didn't even want to walk through the middle high school, and I thought that was a mistake, because it's like you still got to identify what the needs are immediately, right? So I'm like, I just think people are too stuck on the fact that we're going to build a new high school, and if we're going to do that, that's 7 years from now, and you still need a buy-in from everybody, right?
Right.
You're gonna need a community. It's going to be what's in it for me, right? Like the seniors, what's going to be in it for me would be, property taxes going up because the schools are good. However, there's going to be a performing arts center that you can visit and see concerts at, right?
Right.
I mean, it's got to be like, okay, your kids are going to be suffering for 7 years or 5 years or 6 years, but we're going to make sure that the transformation is going to be worth, your kids, because people that got children like my age, I mean, I'm going to vote for it, but my children they've been through that high school and they're going through it right now. And to be honest with you, are we going to say to them, I'm sorry, we're going to fix everything later? And I don't know if that's a good buy-in, right? So that's why I'm saying, like, I'm a little disappointed that they wouldn't even take a walk through the school. And to be honest with you, the more and more I look like I look at that middle high school, I think maybe we should even look at what Situate did and renovate the middle high school and add on a middle school. That might be more prudent for what we're doing, because Situate did it. Maybe we can ask Situate to take us a walk through that, because, that was a gradual thing. They did, to your point about spending $5 million, I think it's $5 million for the next 5 years. That'll get us caught up to what we need. And then I think if they have an appetite to spend that, then maybe we'll get the $150 to $200 million school. But let's be real. If they won't spend, and that advisory committee won't spend money on water fountains and things that we needed, that we had to fight tooth and nail to get, how are they going to advise to build a new school, right? That's just my thoughts.
First of all, why are you necessarily, I'm not convinced we need a new school. I'm not by any means.
Right.
I think you're jumping the gun there, because maybe we just need to renovate this building and then build an adjacent building to house some parts that are deficient. So
I agree with you. And also, like I said, that's what they call it a calfnesium, where they add the calf in the gym. And that's pretty much what the middle high school needs is more space that way. And you can always build up. That's a brick and mortar building. I mean, look, I was the first one saying knock it down, but after looking around, it's got some really cool architectural functions too that I thought were cool. But I just think that if we're closed-minded and like, oh, we're just going to get another high school, that just might give town officials excuse to say, well, kick the can down the road another 5 years,
Well, it is, all those things add up, and in the interim, we need to prioritize what comes first.
Right.
And see if we can fit it into the free cash that's available at the end of the year. That's the source of capital funding. And you can see in this fall town meeting, if you went, that lots and lots of things were funded with free cash. And that free cash amount is pretty much the source of funding for non-budget, not things that aren't in the regular budget. And that free
Mhm.
cash amount has been like a couple of $1 million or $1 million to $2 million a year. And from that, all the capital budget things, the simple capital budget thing items for the whole town have to come out of that. So we need to prioritize, what are the most important, because we have to fit it into that amount and share it with everybody else in town.
Mhm.
The station needs this and that, the fire station and everybody else. So we need to prioritize and make a case for the things that we need. And one thing we could do that would be helpful, and the capital budget people do this, is take those items from the list and think, what should we, make a 5-year plan? What do we do this year? What do we do next year? Blah, blah, blah. See if we can hit all the high priority things in 5 years.
Okay.
Because those are the sources of funding, unless you're going to go to an override.
And I'm sorry, I have to jump off, but I am happy to join any of these committees for any of these schools and chat before the next meeting so that we can figure out how to get all this teed up for the spring meeting, which I think, as everybody said, is a great idea that we should definitely do. So sorry.
Okay. No,
Sorry.
Kathleen will just, you're Osgood, okay?
I'll do Osgood.
Osgood. Jen, I have you at Deer Hill. Nan and I will
Sign me
take
up for
care of
anything in my absence.
process and we'll look at the high school and Doug, you want to jump on one?
All right. Happy holidays, everybody.
You too. Thank you.
Sure,
Talk to you soon.
whatever one
Bye-bye.
you need. Man.
If it's okay, I'll switch over to the middle high school if that's okay, just because I know the building better,
Sure. All right, so I'll do process with Nan and Paul, you look at the high school. I'll work with Kathleen on Osgood. Doug, you can work with Jen on Deer Hill.
Okay,
I think we have a game plan and strategy for our next meeting.
Right. I wonder too, if all those committees should sort of chat so that we're formatting our recommendations in the same way, sort of streamlining, like sort of figuring out how we're presenting that information so that it makes sense, or maybe we just do that at the next meeting.
I would do that at the next meeting.
Okay.
That way we've all had a chance to look and then we can all put it in one
Right.
nice, easy message for whoever.
It's a good idea.
Jason, could I ask you, are you able to redistribute the report, or at least send it to me?
Yep.
The other question I'd ask is, do you have that in a editable document? I don't know if they.
It was sent to me as a PDF.
Yeah, I
and-
wonder if you could get them to send it to you in an editable document, like they must have it in Excel or something.
Yeah, I can easily export this. I have a program on my other computer that can rip a PDF into an Excel, so I can do that.
Well, I have that too. If that's what you're gonna, you can.
That's
do
all
that.
that's all I have. I don't have,
Yeah.
I didn't send it.
So AI3 doesn't have AI3 didn't give us the.
No, it's just
the
a
other
just a PDF of it.
Well, we bought the whole thing, but if you don't want to go get it, that's fine. You can send me what you got. I'll
Yep.
figure it out. It'll make it easier to filter through all those different categories and so forth. That's all.
Yeah, I'll shoot him an email. I gotta talk to him anyway. He sent me a bunch of other stuff I gotta look at yet. All right. That was good. What's the next thing on the list here? Probably nothing, right? Yeah. Topics not reasonably anticipated. Unfortunately, we still have not heard one way or the other from the SBA. We were told sometime this week, so I'm hoping before Christmas break we know one way or the other. But Dr. Sullivan has not received a letter yet. And since we still have enough people on, correct? 1, 2, 3, 4, perfect. The other item is the approval minutes from all the way back on 10/4. Because we haven't had forums to vote on this the past couple meetings we've had. So I hope everyone has looked at them. Does anybody have any comments? Questions, concerns? If not, do I have a motion to approve these minutes?
Motion to approve the
have a
minutes of
second?
October 22.
Do I have a second?
Second,
And I guess we'll just go roll call vote. Jen Leske,
Yes.
Doug Schultz,
aye.
Nan Roth,
I,
Paul,
Aye.
and Jason, I. So we are good on the minutes, Nan, so you can get those sent over and posted. And that is all I had, unless anybody has anything else. I will take a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
And Nan seconded, so roll call vote. Jen Leske,
Aye.
Doug Schultz,
Aye.
Nan Roth,
I.
Paul,
Aye.
and I as well. We are adjourned. Thank you all. Have a wonderful holiday.
Thank you.
Thank you. You too.
January.